Okay, I'm going to bang these 6 out and upload them for you. Okay, what is this? What are the solutions? Well, we need to just distribute through, and we need to solve this. Okay, 6 times k, 6k. 6 times negative 11, negative 66. Greater than 12. And now we've got to add that amount to both sides because we're isolating k. And we get 6k is greater than 78. And we can actually divide both sides by 6 now. And we get k is greater than 13. Okay, let's go. Okay, now someone pointed out to me something very important, which is that in the answers on the study guide for number 57, it just gives you the answer 15, okay? And that's a little confusing based on what we did here. Okay, now I'm going to explain why that is. The original, so my test makers, uh, it can turn on or turn off the multiple choice answers. Okay, so what the original question said is which one of the answers, A, B, C, or D, is a solution of the inequality, and it gave 4 choices, and only one of those choices was greater than 13. Okay, the choice 15. Okay, they gave it as one of the options was 15, and uh, that's the only number that fits this, which is greater than 13. Unfortunately, when I flipped it to be just a short answer question, it still gave a response of just the multiple choice answer. So that was a little bit of a mistake of the test maker, in that it's showing you for the answer for number 57 that the answer is 15. And what that's really indicating is it gave basically something like this. I don't know exactly what the choices were, but something like this. Like A is -5, B is 7, C is 13, D is 15, okay? And if you plugged in any one of these, if you put in this for K, -5 is not greater than 13. If you put in this for K, 7 is not greater than 13. If you put this in for K, 13 is not greater than 13. It's equal to, but it's not able to be equal to. It has to be greater. So the only one that's greater than is this one. Okay, so the reason that you don't see these multiple choice answers is because I switched these questions to short answer, but the test maker is still answering it as though there are multiple choice answers for you to see, and there aren't. So sorry for that confusion. Okay, that's going to be the same way with number 58. So I'll say it again. Okay, what are the solutions? So we're going to simplify this out and we're going to solve for p. So we say p plus 4. We got to distribute that -2 to everything in the parentheses. So -2p plus 20, -2 times -10 plus 20, greater than 0. And when we combine like terms, we get p minus 2p is -p. And 4 plus 20 is plus 24, greater than 0. We need to subtract the 24 away. -p plus 24 minus 24, greater than 0 minus 24. Or -p is greater than -24. Okay, now the coefficient of p is a negative number, so that when we divide by that negative number, in this case -1, the exact moment that we divide or multiply by a negative, we flip the inequality's direction. It's a must. And we get then p is less than 24. That's the solution. Let's keep going. We're doing great. Okay, so as I said on number 57, if you're looking at the answer key on the study guide, you will see that it gives as an answer 22. And that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense based on what we have here. Okay, what the original question had, the original question was set up as a multiple choice, and I switched it off to short answer, but it's still, the answer key is still treating it as though you have the multiple choices. And what it's basically saying was, in some effect, like which one is a solution to this, right? And so if it gives you four, if you gave you four choices, like A, 24, B, 22, C, 28, or D, 40, well, then only one of those answers is going to actually work. Okay. If you put 24 in, 24 is not less than 24, so it's not A. 22 does work, right? That's the one number that is less than 24. So that works. Okay. And the other two are also, they are not less than 24. So the answer that you're seeing 22 on the answer key is based on the idea that they gave you four multiple choice answers and said which one is a solution. And you had to pick the one that was a solution, right? And if we solved it the way that we did, and you saw that P is all values less than 24, you'd see that if there was multiple choice answers, the only ones that are less than 24 would work. That's why they have an answer like that. So sorry about that. Anyway, keep going. The rest of them. Okay. Nothing too difficult. We know how to do this kind of stuff. We just need to first distribute that 8 into the parentheses. 8 times W, 8W. 8 times 12, 96. Okay, and it's going to be better if I keep my variables positive so I don't have to divide by a negative and flip the sign. So I'm going to subtract 8W from both sides. I'm going to say 12 plus 10W minus 8W. And notice that I'm not multiplying or dividing by a negative here. I'm just simply subtracting. That's different than multiply or divide. So we don't flip the inequality for that. Okay, 8W plus 96 minus 8W. The whole idea of that was I want to do the opposite of that to cancel it out, the inverse operation. So we've now got 12 plus, combining like terms here, we get 2W greater than or equal to, and only the 96 is left on this side. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. And we got 2W is greater than or equal to 84. Now, dividing by 2, that's what we get. Okay, you could do proofs on this. I'm not going to because it doesn't ask me to, and I want to get these videos up for you. So let's keep moving. All right, we're going to combine like terms and distribute. So on the left-hand side, 12x minus 3x is going to be 9x plus 11. And let's see, we got 4x here. We're going to distribute that negative through. The negative of 17 is negative 17. The negative of negative 9x is positive 9x. Okay, and now we can combine, we can combine those like terms. So we've got 9x plus 11 is greater than 13x minus 17. I want to subtract that 9x away from the left, from both sides, but I want to get rid of it over there, okay? So I say 9x plus 11 minus 9x is greater than 13x minus 17 minus 9x, or 11 is greater than 4x minus 17, and I can then add 17 to both sides. And I get 28 is greater than 4x. And I'm going to divide both sides by 4. to get 7 is greater than x. Okay, 2 more. All right. Need to be comfortable with fractions at this point. The first thing that I'm going to do is here's what I'm going to recognize. This is worth seeing. Okay, I know that a third of x is less than half of x. Okay, a third is less than half. So I'm going to take that amount from both sides. So I'm left with a positive amount of x's. So I'm going to say 1/5 plus 1/3 x minus 1/3 x, subtracting 1/3 x, is greater than 1/2 x minus 1/4 minus 1/3 x. Okay? You can get freaked out by the fractions, or you can just say, hey, I know what I'm doing. I am taking away this amount from both sides. That's right there at the end. Okay? And what I do is I first write everything that's there, and then write what I'm taking away. Write everything that's there, and then what I'm taking away. Okay? And since I took it away, that exact amount from the left-hand side that was there, it was 1/3 x, and I took away 1/3 x, we're just left with 1/5, okay, which is greater than, and now I need to do, combine these like terms of 1/2 x minus 1/3 x. So really what I want to know is what's 1/2 minus 1/3. So 1/2 minus 1/3, we need a common denominator of 6. So that's 3/6 minus 1/3 is equal to 2/6. 3/6 minus 2/6 is 1/6. And you'll get good at, you'll eventually just memorize that a half minus a third is a sixth, because it never changes. Okay, so what do we get there then? Well, 1/2 x minus a third x is 1/6 x. And we've still got that minus a fourth. Okay, so what do we want to do now? Well, we're isolating the variable. We have 1/6 x. It also says minus a fourth, so I need to undo that with plus 1/4. So I say 1/5 plus 1/4 is greater than 1/6 x minus a fourth plus 1/4. That's the thing I changed on both sides, is I added 1/4. Okay, now what is a fifth plus a fourth? I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to say a fifth plus a fourth. What's the common denominator? It's 20. So I'm going to turn these both into fractions with 20 on the bottom. This is equal to 4/20ths, and this is equal to 5/20ths. So when I add them together, I get 9/20ths. Got it? So this is 9/20ths is greater than, these two amounts canceled out, and we get 1/6 x. 1/6 x. Okay, just going to erase this. And what do I need to do now? Well, what I need to do now is I need to multiply by the reciprocal of the coefficient. This coefficient is 1/6. Multiplying by the reciprocal is 6/1, or 6. So I do multiply both sides by 6. 6 times 9/20 is greater than 6 times 1/6 x. Okay. On the right-hand side, the whole point of multiplying by 6 is to cancel out that 1/6, giving me just x. And on this side, let's see what we can cancel. That becomes a 10. That becomes a 3. And when we multiply now, we get 27/10. And if you look on the answer key, you see they leave it as 27/10, but they have x on the other side. Just the way that they solved the problem, x ended up on the left-hand side. Does not matter. What matters is this, is x on the small side of the inequality. And if you look on the answer key, x is also on the small side of the inequality. And what's on the big side? 27/10. So regardless of the fact that they kind of sorted it out differently when they were solving it so that the x ended up on the other side, the x is still correctly placed in terms of being on the small side of the inequality. And so it makes it correct. Okay, we've got one more and we're done with this slide. Okay, what are the solutions? I am going to get all of the variables to one side, and I'm going to do that by subtracting 8n. Okay, so I'm going to say 8n minus 14 minus 8n to take it off. It's less than or equal to 13n plus 6, what's already there, minus 8n. Okay, and I get then negative 14 is less than or equal to 5n plus 6. Now I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Negative 14 minus 6, less than or equal to 5n plus 6 minus 6. Or negative 20 is less than or equal to 5n. Now I divide both sides by 5. Negative 20 divided by 5 is less than or equal to 5n divided by 5. Negative 4 is less than or equal to n. That is the answer. Okay, there's a few at the end that I need to do, but I'm going to upload these first, and then I'll get you the rest of the videos.